What's up, GRITR Texas fam? Gabby here.
And Joshua.
And today we're going to talk about some unpopular opinions in the firearms industry.
Yeah, these probably won't get us any brownie points anywhere, but that's the point. These are things that we have come across as instructors, common roadblocks for some people, common practices, common thought processes that we find typically get people in trouble or steer them off of the path to actually growing within either the firearm or the combatives DT portion of training. So we just wanted to go over some of these things and hopefully you guys find some benefit in it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna say, Gabby, is that shooting often does not guarantee that you are actually getting better. I don't know about you, but there have been some people I've come across and they say, hey, I go to the range 3 times a week, or I go to the range, 200 times a week. But then we actually step on and I'm watching their process, I'm watching them shoot, and I kind of go, ooh, okay, cool, you go to the range a whole lot, but how much of that is actually training versus you are just kind of blowing off rounds and not really taking into consideration what you are doing, right? So in order to get better, for me at least, here's what I tell a lot of the students I come across, right? So discipline, consistency, repetition, and analysis, those are going to be your 4 pillars for actually getting better at whatever craft you're going through, right? And it's typically in that order, right? So the discipline, guys, even putting in 5 minutes, I've even told Gabby sometimes, hey look, just dry fire 5 minutes a day, right? 5 minutes a night. Doesn't take a whole lot of time, right? And then the consistency, make sure you are having consistency with whatever the process is, your grip, your stance, your sight picture, right? Then the repetition, quality repetition. We put repetition before consistency. Well, you can be doing a lot of reps incorrectly, if that makes sense, right? So we go to the consistency first, make sure you are having quality, correct repetitions. And then after that is the analysis, making sure you got your little notebook in front of you and you are writing down little notes, taking into consideration what you're doing down from your head to your toes and making sure you are imparting that on yourself and, like I said, taking those little notes. So next time that you start doing your training again, you can go back and look and say, hey, this is what I was doing then, this is how I need to progress now.
I think that's great, and I just want to kind of make a side note on what you just spoke about. In the martial arts world, that's why it's so important to have an instructor. A lot of times in this age of YouTube and Instagram and shorts and reels and all these things where information is kind of at our fingertips, we feel as if we can just go online and learn these things. But if you don't have somebody there critiquing you and showing you the right path to go, it's kind of hard to find that repetitious nature of being correct and being accurate. And that goes for combat sports or firearms, right? You want to get those quality repetitions in, and having somebody there, having a mentor and instructor there to guide you through that, I think that's also very important. All right, and I'm going to volley off of that, and another unpopular opinion, in my opinion, is every woman should get into a combat sport or the firearms industry or firearms sports.
I like it.
Now, I say that because coming from my background, I grew up with 5 older brothers. My father was my instructor. It was a family business of ours in the mixed martial arts. We owned one of the largest mixed martial arts schools in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I grew up around all men. And when I first started martial arts, there were really no young ladies in the sport yet. It was not even a thing considered for young ladies yet. But because it was a family business of ours, I was in it and I was doing it and I was competing against the guys and I was training with the young guys, and now I still train with mostly just men because it's still dominated by mostly men. And it's the same thing for the firearms industry or the firearms sports. It's dominated by men. Now, when women come into these sports, into these activities, it's very intimidating. It's like, well, there's no girls, it's all guys, everybody's so much better than me, everybody's so much stronger than me. How can I even enter this and feel good about it and feel like I'm going in the right direction? And something that I want to say is you are going to feel that sense of insecurity in the beginning, but once you get into it and once you find your community, you're going to find a lot of people who are trying to help you, want to help you, and want to see you succeed. And as a woman, I think it's the most important, or a young lady, it's one of the most important skill sets you can have, and it's going to make you walk around in the world differently. It's going to give you a sense of confidence that I don't think really anything else can give you, when you know I can protect myself, I can move about the world and feel like I'm aware, I've learned certain aspects and certain skill sets where I'm not scared walking around in the world anymore. And I know a lot of young ladies, especially in this day and age, struggle with just feeling fear walking about in the world, right? Outside of our homes. So, unpopular opinion, go take a martial arts class, go get into combat sports, and then also take a firearms class.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with that. I remember when I first started in the work industry, I didn't have a whole lot of hands-on, combat experience there. And after starting to take jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and some other things like that, yeah, you do walk around kind of feeling like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit like Marshall, Walker, Texas Ranger in there, right? Like, you're feeling pretty good. But yeah, it does. It really does, even on top of the firearms stuff, right? Because I think even without that, I still feel like having the hands-on, hand-to-hand experience really does kind of change my perspective on things. Gives me more confidence that I know at least I can get myself out of a situation, right? If I were to find myself in one. Or your skills may not even be for you. They could be for your loved ones, right? So if your loved one gets in a situation, you're able to step in there with confidence and be able to help out if stuff gets really crazy. And I wholeheartedly agree with that.
100%. And again, ladies, you belong. You belong in these spaces. These spaces are catering towards you these days. There are more women than ever in these spaces. So by all means, get in there, find your community, and have a blast.
All right. Next unpopular opinion. Just because you have a background in something, whether that be law enforcement, military, or competition, does not mean you should be an instructor. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, there are some dudes out there who are absolutely amazing at doing. Like, you watch these dudes, I have watched these dudes, I'm like, you guys are freaking Jedis, man. Like, you are dressed right, you have everything in order, your process is super fast, it's super clean. But when I ask, hey, how are you doing that? They have absolutely no idea how to articulate that to me. And typically it's usually one of those answers like, well, you just kind of figure it out. Well, I'm so frustrated. Like, dude, I get that. Like, you have a lot of reps behind the gun, or combat sports, martial arts, whatever that may be, but they don't know how to disseminate that information as knowledge transfer to you and actually help you out, right? So that being said, not everyone you come across that, like I said, has a background in something is going to be a good instructor, and you need to be able to figure that out for yourself. What does that look like? What are those red flags that pop up? And typically what I tell people is, when people can't explain something to you, like a very complicated concept in very layman's terms, like the why behind it, that's a red flag. That's a red flag, right? Or if they're not willing to take a step back and go, hey, you know what? I don't actually know how to properly articulate that to you, but give me a second, I'll come back, we'll have that conversation again, or I'll point you towards somebody else. The thing that's really awesome about being in this space is there are a ton of instructors. I really don't know why a lot of instructors feel the need to be an expert in everything. Dude, like, I don't know everything, right? I am good at pistol shooting. Awesome. That's my niche, that's my marketplace. If somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, I need to learn how to rifle shoot, well, I'll go point them to any one of my other buddies who are fantastic rifle shooters and be fine with that, right? Because I trust them and I know that they are great instructors, they can articulate the why behind things, and they're not gonna give a bunch of fluff and war stories, right? They are going to actually give applicable skills and knowledge to the people that I am referring them to. And I'm totally okay with that, comfortable with it. As an instructor, I believe I don't have a right to have an ego anymore, because the instruction that I am giving people could actually be used in life and death situations, and I really take a humongous, heavy responsibility on that. So yeah, just because you got a background don't mean you need to teach stuff.
100%. Teaching is a skill set in itself. It's a separate skill set from the skill set that you're trying to teach. So teaching in itself, and especially I can relate this to, let's say, just the boxing world. Let's take martial arts as a whole out of it. Let's say just boxing. Just because you're a professional boxer doesn't mean you have the ability to teach that skill set to another individual. Now, that individual varies from age, gender, weight, size, all these different things. They matter in how you teach somebody, right? And so when you're an instructor, you don't know who really is coming unless you're looking for specified clients, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of times, like you're saying, to be able to explain things in layman's terms and explain it to, let's say for me, as a boxing instructor, a 5-year-old. Being able to teach boxing to a 5-year-old, but then also be able to teach a 70-year-old as well. And those are two very different experiences, and the way that you teach and the way that you explain things will change varying on that client, varying on who you are teaching. So that skill set has to be transferred not only with what you know and the ability, but also the ability to teach it to different individuals.
So that's fantastic. I mean, and I always tell guys too, I mean, I need to have the ability to teach mom and pop down the road, and also the ability to teach a high-level SWAT guy as well, right? And those things are going to require some different languages, some different knowledge. There's different experiences. You know, you got a SWAT guy who carries a gun on him all of the time and gets into some really intense situations, and then of course you got the mom and pop who just want the gun for home defense. You gotta be able to disseminate and transfer that knowledge to both ends of the spectrum. And if you can't, well, then you also need to have the courage to take a step back and go, well, you know, maybe I need to brush up on my instructing skills, on my teaching skills before I actually put that out there.
All right, and my next unpopular opinion would have to be, it's not about being the best, it's about showing up. Now, if you are a competitor, if you have competed in martial arts or the shooting sports, you want to be good, okay? I get that, and again, I come from a competition background, so especially growing up competing and training with guys, boys, men, that competitive side is very, very, very active in me, but sometimes you have to take that step back and say, you know what, maybe I am not the best. And for me, I am working towards getting into the shooting sports. I have the martial arts side. That's what I've been doing my entire life. And now I'm like, well, how can I expand my horizons? And that's why my good friend Josh here, he's working with me on that. So when I came into the firearms industry and I'm looking to get educated, it was it is still extremely hard for me to just show up, because I know I don't have the skill set yet. And I want to be the best. I want to win. I want to have that skill set already. But in the beginning, when you're trying to learn a different skill set, even if it's kind of compatible, right? Because I do think that martial arts and the firearms industry are very compatible skill sets, they're still different skill sets. So for me, humbling myself and saying, you know what, just show up. It's not about being the best. Just show up, get it done, get your reps in, get better. That other stuff will come later. And it's kind of like taking myself back to being a white belt, right? It's remembering whenever I was not good at really doing anything with my body, right? Not really knowing how to coordinate myself in any capacity, and especially with martial arts. And over time, without even conceptualizing it, I was getting better as I continued to do it. And you don't really see it sometimes until you really look back and you're like, when did I even get good? When did that even happen? But it happens, right? And that happens by just showing up. Don't worry about being the best. Don't worry about having that skill set yet. It's okay to be bad. It's okay to suck in the beginning. Show up, get it done, and get your days in, get your reps in.
I can remember my very first competition, and I have a video of it somewhere, but I looked straight goofy doing that stuff. I was not fluid in my movement. My stage planning was absolutely terrible. My stage planning is still terrible, by the way, but I mean, it looked awkward, right? But I tell people all the time, if you're not willing to embarrass yourself, then you're not really willing to grow. I mean, that's where the growth comes from, is sticking ourselves into an uncomfortable environment and saying, hey, look, I recognize that I don't know anything, and I'm here to, like you said, show up, be in the space, be humbled, and learn something, right? Okay, so this one might hurt some feelings, but it is what it is, guys. So influencers, right? So talking about 2A influencers, Pew influencers, all that kind of good stuff. Most of those guys and girls, those skills that they have on camera, stop on camera, right? And here's what I mean by that. A lot of them don't actually train to progress themselves unless it's on camera, right? Their whole personality, their ability to engage the audience, their ability to disseminate information and sell a product and all that kind of good stuff, like that's what they are there for. That is their job. Other than that, that's really about it, right? Like I said, I know there are some really awesome, amazing influencers who are also shooters as well, but it's few and far between that you typically find an influencer that continues to try to push the boundaries and progress themselves off of camera. It's usually all on camera, and you know, it's one of those things, hey, never meet your heroes. And I've met some of these guys, and I really wanted them to be better. I really wanted them to be better instructors and better shooters, but then I watch them, I kind of go, oh, okay, so this is all for show. And unfortunately, you get these really big cult followings behind influencers, and I get it. I'm one of those too in some regards. There's some influencers that I just have a really awesome time and I enjoy watching their content, but I also have to remind myself, okay, this is for the camera.
When the cameras go off and nobody's watching, who are you? Who are you when nobody's watching, right? That is really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Are you who you say you are, right? And sometimes they're not. You know, and it's okay. You can love that person and love that influencer for what they do and their act essentially. But just remember that in reality, it comes down to who you are when those cameras are off and the influence that you have on the people around you.
I think the last thing I want to throw out there is don't rely solely on your instructor to fix all of your problems, right? And here's what I mean by that. Typically people walk in and they go, hey man, I'm a really terrible, martial artist, or I'm a really terrible shooter, and I'm expecting this instructor to fix all of my problems. Well, as an instructor, when you walk in, you're kind of walking in like a blank slate to me, right? You're a blank page. And I have, in general context, I know what you're probably struggling with when you walk into the door, and it's usually the same things. It's grip, it's sight picture, and it's trigger, it's stance, and head alignment, all that kind of stuff. So I know what you're probably struggling with because they're probably going to sit somewhere within that box. Now, what really excites me is when a student walks in and they really have those 4 pillars of getting better, as we talked about before, and they come in, they have the book, and they go, hey man, I have a problem with my grip pressure on my support hand, really don't know what that's all about. Or hey man, I'm shooting a little bit high and to the right. I don't know if it's because my grip pressure is a little weird, or my head alignment's a little off, or maybe it's my dominant eye. But when they come in with some context and really good questions, man, that just makes my job so much easier. Because instead of trying to grab an entire picture of what I think your issues are, when you are coming in with some specific questions, fantastic. So guys, within that context, right? So skill is definitely earned and talent is not given by your background, your social media status, or round count. It is something that you have to consistently day in and day out put in intentional effort to get better at those things. And as an instructor, I definitely want to help you out. I know Gabby definitely wants to help you out. We're here for you guys in that. And we're gonna tell you the truth, man. You know, if you're not getting any better, I'm gonna tell you, hey, look, you're not getting any better. And I'm also gonna take a step back and say, hey, look, is it something that I'm doing or is it something that you are doing?
Right. And take accountability, guys, always, right? Take accountability for yourself and what you want to achieve, and you are the way and the movement forward. It's you. And don't ever look to somebody else or something else as the savior or the secret sauce. It's always you, it's in you. You have to discover that for yourself and pull it out.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, we hope you appreciated and got something out of this this video here. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, guys, we thrive off of participation, off questions. It's how we get ideas for other videos down the road. If you got something, throw it out. Maybe you have a different opinion on stuff.
Yep.
Cool, man. We want to hear about those too. Let us know about it.
Throw it in the comments below, guys. All right, this has been fun, Josh.
Yeah, good time. Hey, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.